guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Samantha. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you like the content you see today, be sure to hit the subscribe button so you can be notified of future videos that I make, and let's go get started. Today I thought it would be good to go through my basic travel makeup looks that I use for the most part when I'm traveling. This is specifically when I'm traveling to warmer climates. So if you've followed me or seen any of my videos before, you know my husband and I bring our kids to Disney World a lot. So when you're going there, you need long-lasting makeup. And when I first started traveling, I was packing like 10 pounds of makeup with me. And what I realized was I wasn't using most of it. So in an effort to kind of consolidate and have a routine that really works well, I started researching, I started seeing what works really well with my skin. I started kind of doing some trial and error, and I think I have a really good system down. So I'm gonna show you how I get that look today. First thing to know is that I've already prepped my skin. I went in with the Epionce Light Lytic TX. This is great if you have dry skin, and then the Epionce Renewal Cream. And then I also went in with an eye cream. It doesn't have to be these products, but you should make sure you're prepping your skin really nicely before you get started. I also like to let my moisturizer settle into my skin before I start putting makeup on. So oftentimes what I'll do is I'll put my skincare on and then maybe go brush my teeth for the morning or finish up my hair or something like that. So I like to do that before I put my makeup on. Okay, I used all of my brushes this morning while I was getting ready for work. So please disregard the fact that my brushes need to be cleaned, but we're gonna make it work regardless. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go in with my Supergoop Glow Screen. This is their golden hour version, which is a newer version, I believe. It's kind of just it's a glowy but bronzier look. I will say if I don't have a tan, if I'm traveling in the winter, sometimes this can go a little bit dark on me. So I have to kind of blend it out a little bit better. It does look okay when all is said and done, but I have to work with this a little bit. In the summer though, this is beautiful. It's a great product if you are just wanting to go to the pool and you don't want to look like you have a ton of makeup on, but you want some sun coverage and you just want to look glowy and a little bit put together. I really love it for that. So I put it on the back of my hand. I hate the feeling of products on my fingers. I'm really weird. So I keep like toilet paper or paper towels next to me so I can wipe things off at all times. But anyway, you do what works best for you. If it works better for you to just put it directly on your skin, you can also do that. But I'm gonna go in with my Rare Beauty brush. This is their foundation brush, and I love this, love this brush. And you'll see I use it throughout my whole entire makeup process here. But I'm just gonna go in, and I'm just going to, I'm using my mirror, which is right here. So if it looks like I'm looking off into another direction, that's what I'm doing. This is SPF 40, and somebody told me the other day that SPF 40, like the number, actually means how often you need to apply it. So if this is SPF 40, it's every 40 minutes. I gotta tell you, I don't know how that works if you're doing makeup, because clearly you're not applying more sunscreen on after you've done like a full face of makeup. So that kind of like bummed me out to hear that I needed to apply it every 40 minutes, but I think if I apply it in the morning, that's better than nothing. And there are definitely times where if I'm traveling and I know I'm gonna be sweating a lot, I just don't feel like doing my makeup, I totally will just put this on and go out in this, and I still feel really put together, which is nice. Okay, so I'm wiping my hand off because I hate the feeling of product on my skin. Okay, so I finished my sunscreen. Now I'm gonna go in with some type of foundation or tinted moisturizer. I would avoid anything that's going to feel really heavy. We're not wanting super heavy coverage because if you're going in the heat, you're gonna sweat a lot of that off. So you can build up coverage with layers of product, and you'll see how we do this, but I would not necessarily go in the first thing with a really heavy foundation product. So for today, I'm gonna use the Fenty Blur Stick. This is, I think they consider this like a light to medium coverage. It's buildable. It's a really beautiful finish on the skin. Sometimes I will use this, and sometimes I will also, I don't think I have it in front of me, but sometimes I will also use the CC cream, the IT Cosmetics CC cream. I think that's SPF 50 or 60, so I feel like I'm like doubling up. I don't know if that does anything for me, but so you can absolutely go in with a tinted moisturizer, anything that you like that works well for you. For context, I have dry, really dry skin, so I'm always looking for something that is going to keep me a little bit more hydrated, but even though my skin is dry, I'm still gonna sweat throughout the day because I'm a person. All right, so I'm gonna go back in with that same brush that I used for our SPF, and rather than like pulling the product down and swiping it, I'm gonna try my best to just really like push it into the skin. I have a lot of just natural texture to my skin, so I try to avoid, I don't know, making it even more texturized and red and all that stuff. So it works for me if I push it into the skin. Now I'm gonna go in with my One Size concealer. I'm in the shade medium 1N. And this tends to get a little bit goopy as time has gone on. So I think less is more, especially with this product. It's a very full coverage concealer. So I scrape off some of the product. It's always easier to build more product up, but it is very hard to take product away. So start with a tiny bit. I do just a tiny little dab under my eyes, and then anywhere that needs a little bit of extra love that day. Now I'm going to take a concealer brush that you can tell is very well loved because it has a slight tilt to it. I love this product. This is, I think, a Sephora brush. I'll find it and link it below. Okay, if you have seen any of my videos before, then you know I am absolutely obsessed with this Westman Atelier contour stick. This is in the shade Biscuit. I think it's so beautiful if you are fair-skinned. Fair to medium. I think it's just such a good color. It's the perfect cool toned contour, and honestly I don't even really like use it as much for a contour. I will contour a little bit on my nose, but it just warms up the skin so nicely, and I just think it's really, really nice. So this is the travel size. I've had this for quite a while, and I have not bought the full size yet, but the travel size is obviously very nice when you're traveling. So I'm gonna go, I'm just going to first move my hair out of the way. So from kind of like a makeup 101 perspective, we just went in and we color corrected, we concealed, we did foundation, which is great. It's covering up all of our imperfections, but in doing that, it's also taking out all of like the natural coloring to your skin. So that's what we're gonna do now. We're adding all of that color back into our skin with our shading, with our bronzer, with our bronzers, with our blushes here in a little bit. So that's why we do all of that. Again, taking that same foundation brush, just gonna push this into the skin. Be really careful that you're not dragging it down, but instead keeping it in the original place you placed it or pushing it up. You don't want to drag it down. That's going to give kind of the illusion of like a sagging look on your face. So and I'm just gonna powder a few places. This powder works really well on my skin. Again, I'm super dry and dehydrated, but I think this also works pretty well on oily skin as well. So I'm gonna go in, you can tell I have loved this, this powder very dearly. This is the Charlotte Tilbury Flawless Finish. It's very light coverage. This is not the powder that's gonna give you like a baked look. So if that's the look you're going for, you want more of a loose powder rather than a pressed powder. But I don't know if you're baking before you go to a theme park, but I am not. So I'm just gonna take it, swirl it around, tap off some of the excess. Now is the part where we really start layering some products. Now, if you don't love the idea of that, you can totally keep it with just a cream contour or bronzer and then setting it, and that's totally fine. I like to go in with a powder bronzer as well over my cream products because your cream products always have a tendency to move around a little bit more. They're gonna last longer if you layer it and you start with a cream and then you go over it with a powder. So for today's purposes, I'm gonna use the Gucci bronzer. I just got this. The packaging is incredible. The color is just so perfect for summer. This is in the shade 3. I just love it. She's a little pricey, but I think she's really lovely. So will I travel with her? I don't know. I might get a little scared with her in my luggage, but you can use any bronzer, any powder bronzer you want. This is just what I'm using for today. I'm gonna go in with just a super fluffy brush. I have a couple versions of this, but I love this because it really kind of like takes up my whole face and it allows the product to go on almost just more sun-kissed rather than really like chiseled and contoured. So again, I'm just gonna tap into the product, tap off some of the excess because this can get pigmented. You wanna build it up. Less is more, harder to take away. So just start in the temples and move it down. Powder blush. This is just such a pretty peachy, this is Petal Power from MAC. It's one of their mineralized blushes, really shimmery. I sometimes bring this. I may bring NARS Orgasm with me. I usually bring like 1 to 2 blushes because I think blushes can really like switch up your look. So if you're on a vacation for a week and you kind of want to switch it up a little bit without overpacking, I think a blush is a really nice way to do it. So you can use the same brush you used before, your big fluffy brush if you want. You just need to make sure you kind of like pinch it and place the product where you need. That is a little risky for me. So I like to use an angled brush when I'm applying my blush. And I'm just gonna go in, tap in the product into the brush, tap off the excess, and just apply it on the apples of my cheeks into the temples. Can you guys see how like pretty that is? It's so gorgeous. Okay, now we're moving on to eyes. When I'm on vacation, my goal is to just do the easiest eyeshadow look ever. So I will bring 1 to 2 eyeshadows, single eyeshadows typically with me, and that's what I'll use for my entire trip. For today, I'm going to use my Merit Beauty. This is in the shade Mid-Century. It's just their Solo Shadows. It's a cream shadow, but has more of like a powdery finish once it dries down. I love this. Love, love, love this shade. I love the product. I haven't found a shade from this line that I love quite as much as this one. There are other really good single eyeshadows. I also love Sophia from NARS. This is also a really nice, just kind of all over wash of color. It's also a really nice transition shade if you're wanting to do more of a full glam look. And And then sometimes I'll also just use a bronzer or my blush for a makeup look. So for today, I'm gonna show you Mid-Century. I put this on my finger. I hate it because I hate product on my finger, but I put it on my finger. I think it's the best way to apply it. You can see, oh, the color is so pretty. It's just like this kind of like cool-ish tone brown. It's so pretty. And then I put it on my eye, and here's the thing. I put it on and I'm really sloppy with it because it's gonna be fine. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's gonna go on probably a little bit sloppy. It builds up so beautifully. When you put more on, it doesn't like pick up on top of itself. It's just a really lovely product. My finger. This could be an OCD thing. I don't know. Should probably talk to somebody about that. I don't know if they still make this or not. This is the 235, I think. It's a two-sided brush. I'll link it below if they still have it. I love it. This is what I travel with all the time. It's everything you need for an eyeshadow brush. So I go in with this side, and I'm just gonna buff out everything on my lid. I'm gonna make sure there's no harsh lines and raise it, I'd say about, I don't know, a little past the crease, headed toward the brow. And I like to kind of take it out a little bit just to kind of elongate the eye a little. Okay, now I'm gonna take the other side of that brush and I'm just gonna go in under the eye. You do not have to do this. You can just stick with this look. This is totally fine. But I'm gonna go in just under the eye. I just think that gives such a nice all over wash of color look. And we're getting this look with only one shade, with only one eyeshadow, which I think is awesome. Something I do like to do is I like to make sure that I've already set my under eyes when I go in with the under eyeshadow. I've noticed if I do the under eyeshadow and then I set it, sometimes the powder almost like removes some of the eyeshadow product I put on. So I always try to do this as one of my last steps after I've already set my under eyes. Okay, make sure that looks all good. Sometimes I'll bring this out a little bit, again, just to elongate that eye. This is also a really nice like day to night look if you're on vacation and you just want to do kind of a wash of color on your lid and then at night put on some under eye shadow as well. Just kind of brings it a little bit more dramatic. Okay, so eyebrows. I've never felt like I have a good handle on how to do my eyebrows. What works for me is I have the Sephora brand brow gel. This is in the shade Rich Chestnut, and honestly, I think it's probably a little too dark, but we're gonna make it work. Again, I kind of get rid of some of this excess because it can get a little bit goopy. And I'm just gonna put this through my brows. I like to start in the center since most of the product is going to be right when you start. And then I kind of build it out. I like to brush the hairs up. I like to have this kind of like wild eyebrow look. I think that that's really pretty. Just like that. Okay. I'm now gonna go in with the Anastasia Beverly Hills. This is the Brow Freeze Gel, and this is like hairspray for your eyebrows. I mean, if you never want your eyebrow hairs to move until you wash your face that night, this is the product for you. It's really good. So I'm going to go over it. It's just a clear gel. Just go over what I did, and again, just kind of pushing the brow hairs up. And those brows are never gonna move again. Okay, the last step before I apply my mascara is I'm going to take some sort of setting spray. I love the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Finishing Spray. I've also used the Urban Decay All Nighter Setting Spray. That's also really good. I've heard really good things about the One Size Setting Spray. For today, I'm just gonna use this. And I use this very generously. So just spray that all over the face. I do this obviously before my mascara because once you put the mascara on, you are gonna not wanna wet your face after that. Now I'm gonna go in, you can go in with any favorite mascara, but what I will say is make sure it's a mascara that does not run. If you wanna use a waterproof mascara, if you wanna use a non-waterproof mascara, you can. I like this product and I know it doesn't run. There's a couple of drugstore products that are also really good. When I'm traveling and I know I'm gonna be in the heat a lot, I do not put mascara on my bottom lashes. That's just personal preference. I think it is less likely to become raccoon eyes at the end of the day. So that's just what works for me. Just gonna go in. And again, I try to keep my eye look as basic as possible. I love a good eyeliner moment, but not when I know I'm gonna be in the heat. Again, raccoon eyes. Like, I just wanna keep this simple. I wanna have it look nice throughout the day and not be high maintenance. Okay, the last product I'm gonna use to finish off this whole look is I'm gonna go in with an Ilia Tinted Lip Balm. This is in the shade Memoir. These products are really nice. They're just super hydrating, but you feel like you've at least got a little pop of color. There it is. That's my go-to travel makeup look. And hopefully this helps you and kind of gives you an idea of where to start. I will link all the products I used below. If you have any questions, be sure to comment below and let me know what your questions are. Let me know if you have trips coming up. I want to hear about them. And yeah, if you liked this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and that way you can be notified of any of my future videos. What else do I want to tell you? Oh, my Instagram handle. I post lots of content throughout the week. You can follow me along there as well. And thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for the support, and I will see you all very soon. Bye. Okay, now I'm gonna go in with a powder bronzer. No, I'm not gonna do that. A good rule of thumb, I think, no, I'm not even gonna go into it. Okay, I will scrape off. Awesome. Just chill. I'm just, this hair, tell you what. Okay. Have I mentioned that I have dry skin? If I can find it.